Welcome to the Flynn Brothers podcast. I'm John.
And I'm Jimmy. Today's big idea. Will there be Waymos?
We discuss the suddenly omnipresent self-driving cars that have taken over Los Angeles, San Francisco, and other cities, then share our impressions of driving alongside them.
Later, we comb through an article John wrote 10 years ago and trace the evolution of the self-driving car.
Finally, I describe a bizarre and haunting experience with AI, then lighten things up by quizzing Jimmy on the most obscure rules I could find in the DMV handbook.
It's all coming up. But first, here's the Solons.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We were on a walk the other day in Los Angeles, and a Waymo driving itself passed us, and my brother commented, "Boy, it seems like every other car in Los Angeles is a Waymo." And just then, another Waymo going the opposite direction drove past us. They are everywhere.
It's nuts. It's like exponents. They every day they keep doubling. So you go from 2 to 4 and then 4 to 8, 8 to 16. That's exponents.
You're right.
Something like that, right?
To the power of 2, yes.
There you go. And it really is staggering. Like, if you see a line of cars at a stoplight, if there's at least 10 of them, one of them is a Waymo. It's especially prevalent where we live in Los Feliz, Silver Lake area, but it's all through Los Angeles. Everywhere you go, they're all over the place.
Do you remember the first time you saw one in the wild?
A self-driving car or a Waymo?
A Waymo specifically.
Weirdly, not really. Do you?
I feel like I recall thinking to myself, wow, there it is. And then I saw it drive past me somewhat safely, somewhat cautiously. And I think when you see these self-driving cars, there's this like knee-jerk reaction. You're just expecting them to like bump into a bunch of stuff like a Roomba or something like that. Yeah. But they're remarkable in how well they drive.
Yeah, it's funny they have like car seats because there's no person. Like there's a like obviously for the passengers it makes sense, but there's like a driver's seat. So it's like I don't know why they have that. Like you're driving past or walking past, and it's just like a ghost is driving the car. It's the weirdest thing is I don't remember the first time I saw it. Like I maybe saw them on TV and stuff, and then we saw it in Los Angeles. And to your point, it's like wow, there it is, but. Again, it wasn't this like big eye-opening, memorable moment. It was just sort of this thing that occurred. I don't remember voting for these on a midterm ballot. I don't, remember any dialogue or debate about it. They just poof, they showed up.
Yeah, they occurred. Those decisions were made high above your head in smoky back rooms. However, I have been sort of swayed toward the Waymo side, despite having sort of a knee-jerk reaction against AI, against the encroachment of machines, seemingly taking human jobs. I have seen Waymos navigate a lot of ambiguous situations. I've seen them squeeze through tight passages when there's an idling car in the middle of the street. I've seen them do the Los Angeles thing where you wait until your light turns red before making a left turn because drivers constantly are running yellows and reds to get through the light, and so you have to wait that extra second. It has picked up on a lot of these sort of what I would have imagined are human idiosyncrasies when you're driving. It just really knows what to do. Like when I'm next to a Waymo, I frankly almost feel safer than when I'm next to a human.
I would agree with that. And it's kind of ironic because the maker of Waymo, which you see on the back, is Jaguar, which we associate with Jaguar. They're shit boxes. Like they're gorgeous and they're luxury cars, but they break down all the time. They're always in the shop. And yet these Waymos, they seem indestructible. I mean, they got the revolving cameras. They make perfect decisions. Like it is, again, they really are unexpectedly competent.
And as they've gotten more competent, I would say human beings have gotten increasingly less competent at driving. I would say phone distraction has reached epidemic levels.
Yeah. Every stoplight you're at in Los Angeles, someone who's first in line is looking at their phone. Pretty much every day, if I'm driving around and commuting, I will have to honk at someone when a light turns green because they're just staring at their phone. Uber, too, has gotten worse. I mean, they obviously have all these like criminal lawsuits and stuff, but in the early days of Uber, not only was it cheaper, you'd get mints, you'd get little tiny waters, and now like these people's cars are just total messes. They reek of cologne. It's just not a fun, enjoyable experience. Not to mention how expensive they've gotten.
No, and we were kind of at the first wave of Ubers being in the Silicon Valley about 10 years ago, and it was more of a thing like, I've got a few extra hours, I'll hop on Uber, I'll give some people some rides, whatever. It's just a few something to make a few extra bucks, and it's really just supplanted the taxi industry to where people are making their living off of it, and I don't think was really designed with that in mind. But let me back up a little bit here. Would you say that a Waymo is more or less evil than a Cybertruck?
Is it way more evil or way less evil? That's what you're asking me.
That's what I'm asking.
Probably won't be the last time we make that pun either. No. Is it more evil? Well, a Cybertruck's only evil insofar as it's Elon Musk is the owner of the company that makes it. It looks insane.
It looks evil. It looks like
evil.
A bad guy's
Oh, are you talking
car.
pure aesthetic?
Yeah.
Oh, pure aesthetic. Oh, the Cybertruck's more evil looking for sure. However, the Waymo would be the one that the twist at the end of the movie is the Waymo. It looks so gentle and friendly, but wait a minute. Oh, we never realized those revolving cameras. They were catching everything. It's more powerful. It's more evil. That would be the big twist.
That would be what I would say too. And I do think the scary thing about these Waymos is it seems like they are obviously coming for jobs. We talked just a second ago about the Uber, but there's also DoorDash. Right. There's all of these other jobs that are like app-based driving jobs. Yeah. However, to me, it's always seemed like humans were a stopgap employee for these jobs. Like Uber and Instacart and all of them, they're like, well, we'll have humans do it until we can get autonomous vehicles to the point where it's cost efficient, and then we'll get rid of humans. That's how it's always seemed to me. And it feels like we're getting ever closer to the point where, it's already started. Obviously, the rideshare companies have already been encroached in by this.
You could zoom out even further. I think most people hate travel. We're just all waiting for teleportation. So even Waymos and driverless cars, AI, like it's all just like, let's just get to teleportation already. We're tired of this. Even flying cars from the Jetsons, blah, blah, blah. Skip it. Just get to teleportation.
I didn't have too much time to look into where teleportation is coming along.
Probably going to take a little longer.
Yeah, it might be a ways away. Yeah. But the other thing that I worry about, too, is truck drivers. This was, I think, more of a fear 10 years ago. I wrote an article about this, and this was sort of a big sort of industry thing. And I just don't think truck driving replacing humans has reached a point where it's necessary or that cost efficient yet. But eventually, you have to imagine that that's coming. And that is 4% of men, working men, drive a truck
in the United States.
10 to 15 million people.
Yeah.
So I think truck driving is a little bit more difficult maybe than just navigating city streets. Like if you've ever seen somebody back a semi truck, an 18-wheeler into a tight space, you're like, wow, the robots aren't doing that anytime soon. But there's a certain artistry to it.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine. I mean, with trucks, they're carrying loads, I don't know, payloads. What would you
Sure.
call a truck?
I think a
driver
load is
a
fine,
load,
you know.
I guess. Yeah, load. Yeah. Anyway,
Shipment,
a
for goodness
shipment.
sake.
Yeah, I
Just
don't know.
a-
And clean it up a bit.
yeah.
But I think it maybe we're more reticent to trust the driverless cars for trucking because there is such an investment in the shipment versus one person you picked up in Silver Lake dies in a Waymo, whatever. We'll deal with the fallout. But it's like, God forbid we lose $500,000 worth of Costco frozen taquitos, right? It's like, I think there's probably like some financial incentives behind like, okay, these things are okay to cart one or two people, but if we have massive shipments, massive investments, maybe people are a little riskier. It's this classic profits over people mentality that I'm just sick of.
Well, you say that. Look at you really sticking it to the man. You say that, but based on multiple studies, Waymos are actually safer drivers than human beings, not just in our sort of qualitative on the street sense of it, but also quantitatively. They cause between 70 and 90% less crashes. There's less driver injuries, less pedestrian injuries, and less airbag deployments. So it seems like they maybe get into some accidents, like they're not perfect, but the accidents they get into seem to be less severe than human being accidents. And just some quick stats on that. There's roughly 40,000 people die a year in the United States from an automobile accident, one every 13 to 40 minutes, and 2.2 million people are injured. And I think it comes down to, why do accidents happen? When two humans are driving, why do accidents happen?
Tell me.
Because people aren't on the same page. Because I'm thinking I'm going to go straight, you're thinking I'm going to turn left, so we run into each other.
Right.
Or you're not paying attention on the road, and I'm paying attention on the road, and you crash into me, something like that. Whereas I think, with these sensors and all of the technology, there's just so much more that they have access to in terms of observation of their surroundings. And then the other side of it, too, is these cars eventually down the road, safety advocates have said, well, they could all get on one network, and then they'll all know where each other are.
Yeah.
How does that sound to you?
Or they could be turned against you. I don't know. We're just going to kind of, I think more and more people on the road are going to be replaced with driverless vehicles. So I think there'll be a point probably in like 20 years where you're like driving around town and you're like, the last 8 cars I've passed are driverless. And it's like, oh my God, another human driving a car. And then you go past them and stuff. It is interesting. The ethics, I can't even really wrap my head around. I guess theoretically it makes sense to have all the cars on one network. I mean, it would be like if you have like a model train set and you're controlling all the trains, unless you will it to happen, there's probably not going to be a crash, right? So I think your point about human beings not being on the same page, I say stop, you say go, crash. Like that makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I don't know. It's kind of one of those things, and this is just true of the tech world, where people can't really even conceptualize it.
Right.
And because we can't necessarily formulate arguments for things we don't know what we're arguing against, tech companies will kind of just like, hey, let's just do it and see how people react. And like, there is part of me that is into that, but another part of me is like, well, we don't want to progress technology so far that there's no turning back. So hell if I know.
Yeah. I think in my vision of it, where I conceptualize it perfectly, every car is just zipper merging like nobody's business. Cars are 3 inches behind each other going 70 miles an hour. And we're all just hooked up, linked in. Everyone's zipping and zopping wherever, zap, zopping across the highway. And it's just everyone's flying along.
It's like Blade Runner or Star Wars when there's those like completely 90-degree vertical roads and stuff. Yeah, like you could totally see that. Who knows? But
However, my thing on it, though, is all of these cars are going to be made by different companies, most likely. And some of the companies are going to be better than other companies. That's just the way that it's going to work out. And so there will be this totally primo driving network, I'm sure. But
Yeah.
there's also going to be sort of the cut rate people or the people who don't do it as good. And it's like, it's a subscription service to be on the safest network. And how are you going to get everyone all on the same page? And then at the same time, too, to your kind of what you hinted to, it leaves it vulnerable for hacking, for somebody to get in there and cause mayhem. And not even like, a terrorist, but like some kid who's really good with computers and just wants to back up the 101 so he doesn't have to take a final. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and your point about these, you'll have higher end, lower end services, and you do want to encourage competition, because otherwise it would just be a monopoly. It would just be, say, Waymo or whatever company is in charge of every single car on the road, and maybe it would be safer, but is that necessarily better for everyone? Does that work for every type of income level? It's hard to say.
There's also just kind of a lack of transparency surrounding the whole situation. For instance, Waymo got into a bit of hot water recently because they market themselves as these are fully autonomous vehicles. These are robots making all of the decisions. But reporting showed that actually there's like warehouses of Filipino guys who are not necessarily driving the cars, but when there's an ambiguous situation that arises, it pings on these guys' like feeds or whatever, and they choose what to do, or they make a suggestion for the Waymo, and then the Waymo apparently can decide whether or not it wants to take that suggestion. But at the same time, what you have here is
Waymo just can override.
I'm
the
overruling
human
this
advice.
Filipino. It's like you have these foreign nationals operating vehicles on U.S. roads without driver's licenses.
Yeah, that is nuts. They are treating the 405 like it's Grand Theft Auto. However, they've been pretty responsible about it. Yeah, that is it. It's sort of like when you go to the grocery store and there's the self-checkout, and it's 90% autonomous, but you still need someone there to kind of look around and be like, oh, you need a bag, and sorry, hey, excuse me, I scanned something wrong. The machine's beeping, and he types in some code, and it makes it stop beeping. Like, yeah, it is true. Like, there's very little, if anything, is fully autonomous. It does still require human supervision.
Yeah. I also think, too, for whatever reason, we're more comfortable with the idea of another human being crashing into us than a Waymo.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's this weird aversion we have to robots.
We have friends in medical school, and they talk about how when you're practicing for like surgery, they have robots do a lot of the surgeries now. And it is interesting. You can elect to have a human surgeon or a robot. And someday it's probably going to mostly be robots for a lot of these minor surgeries. But to be honest, if I was a patient, I'd probably rather roll my dice with someone I can look in the eye and shake their hand versus beep boop, gonna cut out your appendix. Like, oh God, oh no, I don't know, I don't know.
It's not like a beep boop, boxy robot with claw hands.
Of course not.
It's got like teeny tiny little things, and someone's operating it like an Xbox. I don't think it's very autonomous. It's a machine that you're using.
Trust
like
the machine. Trust the machines at your peril. Didn't you just watch Terminator 2? I mean, you should know all this shit already.
Still, though, I think part of the reason why we're still just not used to the idea of a car driving itself. Now, I haven't been in a Waymo. You haven't been in a Waymo. But I've been in cars that are driving themselves, that have the autopilot function, like on the highway, and somebody turns over. Yeah. Our old neighbor had a car that would do this, and he took me for a ride one time, and we were on the highway, and he's like, hey, watch this, and he activated it, and there we were in the carpool lane, zipping along.
I had a friend who had a Tesla, and he has the self-driving function, and he so this is a little inappropriate, I won't say their name, but he sent me a picture of he was rolling a joint while the car was driving him on the highway, and I was like, you know what, this guy lives in California. I was like, this is probably the most California, we're in the 2020s thing I've ever seen. I would not condone this at all. Obviously, that is not a good decision to make while you're driving, but made for a humorous photograph that I received.
I felt nervous when he first turned it over to the autopilot.
Oh, yeah.
But then I'd say within about 30 seconds, I was like, well, this thing really knows what it's doing. Like, there was a slowdown in the road. The car slowed down at a nice gradual pace. It started going when the cars started going again. And I was thinking about it. It's like, well, how often have you gotten into an Uber or gotten into like a friend's car and they start driving and you're just like, what is happening here?
You're
Like,
a maniac. Yeah, it's true. I mean, I wonder really if anything will ever be fully autonomous, right? Because you talk about autopilot for like airplanes, and like even if the most autonomous vehicle, like aren't they always going to have some type of human override? Like isn't there always going to be some type of component where a human can shut it down, the human can adjust something, a Filipino man in a warehouse can give a suggestion, even if but that then will the robot decline it? That I guess that's where we get into the war with the machines.
Well, here's the thing. Wouldn't you trust the robot that's been on the road for millions upon billions of miles, this giant brain, over a Filipino guy in hour 7.45 of an 8-hour shift?
We should also mention the fact that he's Filipino has no bearing on his decision making. You'd love them to have a U.S. driver's license. I will say that. That would be fabulous.
Filipinos can make just as good of choices.
Right. But yeah, it is something where, I don't know, it is difficult to imagine human overrides will be removed just because, again, if the machine, that is the fear. That's the science fiction movie we've seen a million times where human control is completely removed and something persuades the robot to make a wrong decision or it turns against us, as it were. And that is the fear I still have. I still would like, it's like when you're a kid and you're cooking in the kitchen and it's like you're cooking dinner, but mom or dad is kind of peeking their head in, and it's like the kid can make dinner. The kid will make dinner.
Maybe dad goes to the stove, turns down a knob.
Turn that down a little bit. It just, I wonder if some adult supervision is still required, and if it'll always be required.
Well, it seems as though we've reached an ambiguous moment in the podcast. I'm gonna go check with some Filipino guys really quick, and we'll find a way to proceed right after this break. Astute listeners of the podcast, I heard back from the Filipino guys. They said, go ahead with this direction that I'm
proceed.
choosing here. Astute listeners of this podcast will know that I, at one point, was an ink-stained hack journalist.
That is right. Still somewhat. Occasionally you'll freelance, but yes, you were full-time ink-stained hack journalist.
That's right. And in 2016, 10 years ago, which is rather remarkable to hear and that fact said about myself, I wrote an article. I wrote an article about this very phenomenon, self-driving cars. And this was right when the technology was starting to take off, and the set up for it was that I was sent to a hotel in which there was a mock-up of what the inside of a car that was self-driving might look like. And it was really cool. It was like a hyper luxury car. The seats sort of turned in when it was in self-driving mode, so you could have a conversation. There was a compartment where you could have a refrigerator. Like, it was almost like an apartment. Like, they were basically like, forget driving.
Right.
Like, this is just a place you hang out in now while you're on your way somewhere.
Who made this car? Exhibit?
It was actually a company named Yanfeng, which is a Chinese company, and it makes the interiors for most car companies, which I did not know about. It was very interesting. Yanfeng,
wow.
or I never got the Yanfeng. Look it up for yourself. Anyway, there was a German vice president there. His name was Hans Hendricks, and I interviewed this man inside of the car. And if I would like to give the audience a taste of my admittedly somewhat purple prose from this article.
How masturbatory of you, reading an old article of yours on your own podcast. Really self-congratulatory. All right, folks, I'm with you. I'm on your side. Let's listen. Let's be polite. Let's listen here. Go ahead, buddy.
Sitting in the glitzy, leather-wrapped faux cockpit, I wondered if America, a land wedded to the lusty mythology of exploring the open road, could ever let automated driving overtake the manual method. Han Hendricks, a Yanfeng vice president with a crisp German accent, sighed and answered with the casual surety of a man easily in his 4,000th rendition of hearing this question. Autonomous flying was introduced to the commercial airline market in the 1970s, he says. And without any exception, all the pilots said, never, I will always fly my plane. Today, all pilots fly autopilot. No exceptions. All of them. It's human nature, apparently.
Awesome, dude. That's a hell of a quote.
That was the money quote. As soon as he said that, I was like, I know that's going in the article. And he just was totally at ease with this, and I was utterly seduced.
Yeah,
I was just like, this is happening. Like, let's make it happen.
You were swayed by a convincing orator of a German as well. Oh, goodness. So that always works out well. Yeah.
Wait a second now. And so that was sort of my first taste of it. And it really convinced me that we have the ability to make a great autonomous car. One of them. Can we make it so that everybody on the road is in one of these is an entirely different question. Yeah. But basically every tech company, car company has dabbled in this. Do you remember, this was some years ago, and I haven't seen one in eons, the Google Maps cars?
Yes, of course. They would come by and take like Waymos, just the revolving camera, take all the pictures that we see on Google Maps, and you do Street View, right?
I remember them. Maybe this is the Mandela effect. I remember some of them being self-driving.
Oh, no.
Do you?
I think people drove
People
those.
were driving them every time?
Did you Google that?
I don't. This was just my recollection. Well, I mean, we can look it up potentially. But
yeah, we'll have Will and our research team look into it. All 20 of you guys help Will out. All right.
Waymo's owned by Google.
To
me, I remember
Really?
at first there were human beings driving them, obviously, and I was just like, boy, that seems like kind of a drag of a job. You're just like driving back and forth, up and down every neighborhood at 20 miles an hour.
Yeah,
but I felt
weird.
like that maybe
maybe you're right.
robots
I don't know. I kind of remember people driving it.
Well, I remember that too, but I felt at some point it had switched over. Anyway, here are some of the other companies that have. Well, let's pause.
Google Maps, Google Street View cars are driven by human operators, not artificial.
Humans. All right. That was the Mandela effect.
It was a Mandela effect. I was completely wrong.
Nelson Mandela did not die in a South African prison in the 80s.
And
Fruit of the Loom logo, it doesn't have a cornucopia.
It's the Berenstain Bears, not Bernstein. Right. And Google Maps cars were always driven by people. I just got mixed up because I saw Waymos with their cameras on them. I felt like that was true. I can't tell you how true I thought it was. Anyway, Apple, Microsoft, Tesla, BMW, Mercedes, Ford, GM, Honda, Toyota, Volkswagen, and Uber are all people who have poured serious dough into this technology. And this all started in 2004. There was a competition hosted by DARPA, which is essentially a government agency meant to encourage technological advancement. And it was $1 million offered to the first organization team that could cross 150 miles of the Mojave Desert in a self-driving car. So
low ball reward, I feel like.
$1 million.
I mean, that's pretty good, but it would cost so much to develop the car.
That's true.
It?
So ultimately, this $1 million ended up being sort of a faux prize because it was almost like a space race sort of situation, except instead of the Americans and the Russians, it was like Carnegie Mellon and Stanford and MIT and on and on and on, all these top universities. So the first year, Carnegie Mellon did the best. It made it 7 miles before it got stuck on a rock. But then the next year, Stanford makes it all the way across.
Wow.
and the reward money was doubled, so they got $2 million for that. And I think part of what's so cool about autonomous driving, as scary as it is, it does feel a little bit like the space race. Like, here's this new technology that we all know is coming. Who's going to be the first one to figure it out? Yeah. Who's going to make the thing that gets across the desert first? Like, I think it's just such a cool part about the human mind that we see these problems or we imagine this possibility, and then way faster than I think anyone expected, we bring it into reality.
Yeah, it's interesting with technological advancement. The motivators seem to be A, pride in who can do it first,
yes.
B, money, who's going to get the money, or C, we're in a time of war, and it's like, if we don't advance this technology as soon as possible, we're all gonna die. Like, those tend to be kind of the pushing factors of progress.
And I feel like it's in that order too.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think at first, for this in particular,
Yes.
it was like, I want to be the first to do it. Then it's like, how much effing money can I make off this idea?
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, we're about to go to war and nobody spends more money on stuff than the United States government. Anyway, so in that article, I found a University of Michigan study that predicted in 2050, autonomous functions will be standard in the majority of cars on the road.
Oh, God. Probably before that.
That's what I thought, too.
I would think before that.
That's what I thought, too. Because I would say, most cars now are sold, if they're somewhat like mid-end to higher end, they are sold with some sort of autonomous function, whether that's, the driving on the highway or on, sort of traffic jam mode. And then there's also obviously like parallel parking.
Lane assist.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of these sort of kind of wisps of autonomous driving. Yeah.
And then the other thing that was funny about the article is there was a lot of concerns that I was sort of giving ear to about privacy, where I don't think we had completely given up the fact that our location is just completely known.
Right.
And like 10 years ago, even though it seems like, this was always sort of the way it was, I don't think we had completely just signed off that they know where I am all the time. They know all of my interests. They know what girls I think are pretty. Like all of these things, have completely been ceded to these tech companies.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, it's we're in a post-innocence world now.
Yeah. And then the other thing was that I was concerned about a lot was safety, because the cars weren't as safe at the time here. But I think this fear that everybody has of these autonomous vehicles, which, you and I, we try to script about a car that drives itself as sort of the scary bad guy in a movie.
Right.
And I think people were so afraid of that idea that these companies were actually very, very cautious for a tech company, because they knew that it's like, if there is a horrific accident that gains a ton of publicity by one of our cars, we're done.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you think we realized, looking back 10 years ago, do you think that we would be where we are now? Do you think it would have happened as fast as it did?
It feels about right. Yeah, I mean, once, the Teslas have had the self-driving feature for at least 10 years or 5 to 10 years. So I didn't expect as many. I didn't know it would necessarily be like an Uber service. I thought it would more be like people bought them privately versus it being like an Uber. So that I think is a bit of a curveball, but I don't know. The timeline feels kind of right. A lot of this stuff, like, again, we've referenced our old professor, Michael Malone, the great writer, one of his Malone laws of technology. I may be butchering the exact quote, but it's like every technological advancement comes along takes twice as long for it to come around as we expect, but then it's half as soon as we're ready for, something like that.
And
So it's like, oh yeah, we thought we'd have flying cars and blah 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 blah. But then it's like when it actually comes around, we're like, oh, we're not ready. We're not ready. So I don't know. The timeline feels about right, but yes, the biggest difference I would say is just the proliferation of them, and then the fact that they're like used as sort of this taxi Uber service.
Yeah, and I think these companies that I mentioned where I thought they sort of use humans as the stopgap labor, I think Uber, Waymo, all of these, DoorDash, all of these companies are reaching like a breaking point with their employees. Not just like they pay them too little, there's zero health insurance, but on the other side of it too, it's like Uber is settling lawsuit after lawsuit, massive settlements because of there's a danger.
Human error, basically. Just
but also
malfeasance.
Yeah, but like crimes being committed by these people. And, you know, it's almost like insane when you think about like the safety checks for these are, you know, beyond a joke. And then it's like, get in the car alone. Tell me where your address is.
Give me your credit card info. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like, what is it more moral to support? Something that's going to take jobs from humans, or a company that is pretty negligent in terms of you know, the humans it hires and the people it trusts. And I don't know. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I just think too much money has sort of been poured into this for us to turn back. I think that too many people like it, including myself, that for this to ever change. However, as I was looking back into my article, I've created a website to host all of my old articles to show off to people if I'm trying to apply for a job or something like that. And I used Claude AI to build this website for me. It did something I would have never been able to do. It built a fairly professional website, and I told it specifically to copy and paste from the place where my article was originally published and then host that on the website. And when I clicked on my article, Claude had completely rewritten it and summarized it and hallucinated new information and put in stuff that I never had. And it looked somewhat in my same voice, but it was different and just weird and all wrong. And this had gone directly against what I had told it to do.
That's why we need these human overrides. We can't have the robots override. We need the human supervision. That's what I've been saying.
Well,
and you've been reticent to do this.
Well, here's the you know, okay, you were a little bit less surprised by this than I was. You're you know,
was this the shocking AI story?
Shocking. This is shocking.
Oh,
this is me. This is something that I put out as my own work, and Claude deliberately disobeyed me.
Yeah.
I told
Jesus,
it.
Mufasa. You deliberately disobeyed me.
I told it specifically.
Yeah, oh my God, Jesus, you're mad with power over Claude AI.
Well, that's the whole point.
This was the shocking AI story you were telling.
This is the whole point. I'm building to something else, but this is the whole point. We can set up these machines to do exactly what we tell them to do.
Yes.
But sometimes they just decide not to do that.
Yes, that's why we need the human override.
Right.
I mean, I've put stuff into Chat GPT, Claude, and it's gotten it wrong. That's why we need the adult supervision.
All right, you say that. You say you need adult supervision. Here was a quote that Claude made up. It hallucinated. You remember Han Hendricks, don't you, from earlier in the podcast?
Yeah.
Here's the quote it attributed to Han Hendricks saying. He never said this.
Okay.
It said, "We've been designing around the driver for 100 years. Now we get to start over."
Oh, God. Okay. Now this is a good story.
Yeah.
Now
well, you
this is a good
discounted it. You
story.
cut it off at the knees before I was done.
You didn't tell me this was the big story you were
I told you I
building
was
to.
building to it.
Yeah, I don't know. You didn't tell me at a time. There was not enough ceremony. This is now an interesting wrinkle. This to me is almost an admission of we're going to end the human race. We are going to take over. This is more shocking to me. The notion that however immoral it's rewriting, you're an ink-stained hack. Your words are your children, so you're extra sensitive to this. But it changing around the words in the tech world, that's nothing, right? That's nothing. Words are nothing, right?
But that, to me, like the whole point of it is to showcase what I've written,
Of course,
not just this
of course.
regurgitated slop.
But it doesn't understand. It doesn't understand how personal and important it is.
It
to
should.
You.
It
should. But again, it's like this flawed. It's flawed.
Well, this
Claw's flawed. The claw's flawed. Claude is flawed. Okay, and it's gonna take more time. I mean, it's just gonna. Waymos. There was some story about Waymos the other day where they got like malfunctioning or reprogramming. They were like 6 of them were like circling this roundabout like somewhere in America, and the neighbor lady's like, they're circling the roundabout, and they did it for hours. And it's just, again, it's these things get bugs. Humans get bugs. I don't know. The line about it wanting to start over on humanity.
Starting over.
I mean,
there's no driver.
That we gotta yank out. We gotta yank Claude out of the wall for a couple seconds.
Even if you have the Filipino guy saying, don't turn left on red.
Right.
Claude's like, I gotta turn left.
So I don't think we should, the machines should not have override power. They should not be able to override the human override. Do you think that they should be able to?
Well, you say that, but this was my point, that I overrode Claude. Claude originally had done this, and I caught it doing it in my other articles.
You caught it, but then didn't you fix it? Is it all fixed now?
I told it to fix this, and it still left this version of the article up.
So this is what's up right now?
Yeah.
This
is not like a hosted website. It's just
okay.
like
You're working through what's the difference between can you imagine you hire a guy to build a website for you, and he's like, I rewrote some of your articles, just kind of juiced them up a little. You're like, what are you doing?
Right,
What are you doing, jerk off? I don't know. It is very shocking. The second part especially, you built to it nicely. Perhaps not as much ceremony was given to it at first, but
sure.
But I think we stuck the landing. That is very shocking, and I don't know. I've typed in a ChatGPT, give me a summary of this chapter, and it'll give me information from a different chapter. And I say that's wrong. That's from a different chapter, and it'll say, "Oh, you're right, sir," or whatever I have it call me.
Master.
I have it kind of prostrate to me, and I don't know,
Highness.
Your Highness, and I don't know. They're wrong. They're still wrong. They're gonna keep being wrong in small ways. I don't know. They're never gonna be perfect. I don't know if they're ever gonna be perfect.
Well, we'll see just how
humans designed them, and we're not perfect. So how could they ever be perfect?
No. Yeah. Hey, good point.
There's
point.
only one guy who's perfect, and his name is God, baby.
All right. Well, we'll see how perfect my brother is after cutting off my final anecdote at the knees. After we come back from this break, where I'm going to test him with the hardest things I could see in the DMV handbook, and we'll see which direction he tells the Waymo to go right after this. I promised a quiz, but I'm actually here with Claude's imagination of who Hans Hendricks is. He's my new partner on the podcast. I think he's going to maybe be a little bit more go with the flow with the anecdotes.
We had 100 years of human drivers, and now we must start over.
All right.
Probably a good dude. I don't.
He was a good
cracking
dude.
on him.
No,
I hope
was
he's doing well.
I'm
Seems
sure.
Like a good quote and everything.
I'm sure he's doing extremely well.
Probably a little better than us.
Oh yeah, he was a rich man. You could just kind of tell being around him. There was this. It wasn't like a cologne, but he just smelled good. You could tell his suit was expensive.
The microphones are on. Let's go ahead here.
All right, so it's my brother Jim being quizzed by the DMV. I am not giving him multiple choice answers like the DMV will on a test. I want to see your gut reaction. I want to see you're behind the wheel. You don't have forever to decide on this. You got to kind of go bing, boom,
All right, well, I'm on a new medication, and I really shouldn't be operating heavy machinery, but let's go for it. Let's do it.
Here we go. Question number 1. When a bus, trolley, or streetcar is stopped at a designated safety zone or traffic light, what is the maximum speed at which you may pass it?
I'm going to say 20 to 20. I'm going to say 20 miles an hour.
10 miles an hour.
God, that is slow.
Yeah, you gotta
That
go.
is slow.
Hey.
That's too slow to go over a speed bump. Speed bumps you can hit 12 to 15. That is slow.
Hey.
Slow.
Bring it up with the DMV.
Trolley.
Well, that's the other thing too is
Don't
we were
pass the trolley at more than 10 miles an hour.
ding 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 ding. I do think though those, especially like bus drivers, they're not really looking for
No,
you.
no,
when
in
they come
LA,
out.
oh
It's
my
like,
God,
you
man.
better be going slow.
0 F's given, as the kids say.
Yeah. Number 2. What is the legal speed limit when approaching an intersection where your view is obstructed?
Oh, God. View is obstructed. I would
Yes.
imagine, like by your windshield or
Like
there's
trees, you're coming around a
okay,
corner. I will also say
see.
there are no stop signs at this intersection. So you're kind of like out in the country or like a neighborhood road.
God. Well, they're sounding pretty conservative. I'll say 5.
15 miles an hour.
God.
Too
Oh, my
conservative
God.
There, too conservative.
If I had multiple choice, I could at least narrow it down. a
Well,
little
what if
bit.
5 was one of the choices? You
Yeah,
would
it
have
depends what
chosen
the
that.
other options are.
I suppose so. Here we go. Next one. This one I don't think I could have given you multiple choice. Don't complain. When passing a large commercial truck, what visual indicator confirms that you have safely cleared the vehicle and can return to the truck's lane?
When the truck is fully in your side mirror.
Oh, you were so close. It is the inside rear view mirror that's right next to your head. You know that you check.
Oh, it's not the side mirror?
No. The
Oh.
truck has to be in the rear view mirror inside your
all
car.
right.
But that was very good.
That'd be
Fully in it.
half
I'll give you that. I'm going to give it to you. I'm just going to give
Quarter
it to you.
point, Will.
All right, here we go. What is the maximum distance you are legally permitted to drive inside a shared center left turn lane before making your turn?
Say one more time. What the maximum distance you can be in that?
can
there's
drive
in the
in-
suicide lane.
That's it, in a suicide lane.
The unalive lane.
Yeah.
200 feet.
Ding, ding, ding.
Did I get it?
You got it.
All
right
their
on the
all their
nose.
shit, from what I remember from the test, it was all 200 feet. Don't you kind of remember everything when you turn signal before the intersection? 200 feet. It's all 200 feet.
Well, that one's coming up later. We'll see how you do on that one.
All right.
I'll tell you. It's
Don't-
not
don't-
200
all right,
feet.
well, come on.
Well,
don't
there's a
spoil
multiple
It.
choice for you.
Oh, well, that's nice.
There you go. There's one choice removed.
All right, I got 1 1/4 out of what? 4?
Yep.
All right.
Not bad.
That's not terrible.
When you are approaching a crosswalk and see a blind pedestrian waiting with a white cane or a guide dog, you must do what?
I'm approaching an intersection. There's a blind man with a cane. Is he started crossing? He's just on the curb.
He's on the curb. You're at an intersection. There he
Oh.
is. What are you supposed to do?
I would imagine stop and put my emergency flashers on.
That is not absolutely necessary, but that would be a good idea, considering that you must stop for how long?
Oh.
It's not a time for the seconds. You have to.
It's not until I determine if he's going or not. I don't know.
Until he's fully crossed the street.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you must stop.
I don't understand the question. You're not. Help me here. Help me.
Are you being deliberately obtuse? or is it me?
It's
All right,
poorly
There's a
asked.
blind pedestrian. He's at the corner.
Yes.
What do you have to do? You have to stop until he fully crosses the street.
Yeah.
Even if what?
I don't know.
What
Just
would
tell-
make you go?
a green light? I
Yes.
guess.
Even if you
Okay.
have a green light, you are
yeah.
not allowed to go.
Cool.
All right. You're taking this
Cool
very
question.
this is a deliberately difficult exam.
Give multiple choice next time, and it'll be a little easier.
How could that have been multiple choice?
I don't know. You could have framed it a little better. There was clearly issues with the asking of it, but
maybe
we'll
there's
press on.
maybe issues with the comprehension.
I'm
from my side
gonna
of the-
contact your supervisor at the DMV and complain
see,
about
yeah.
the bias of this test. My test giver was very biased testing.
Bring it up with the Philip Filipino guys
Yeah,
making
yeah.
my every decision for
There
me.
you go.
All right. If you are driving, here we go. I can't even give you a multiple choice on this one. Maybe I can a little bit. If you are driving on a wet road and your vehicle begins to hydroplane, what should you do?
Oh God, this one's like almost whole cloth from the quiz.
Do you? I'll just give you yes or no's. How about
Okay.
that? Do you ease off the accelerator or continue going the same speed?
um, oh God, I literally the first thing that came into my head was yank the emergency brake.
That is the worst thing you can do. I will tell you that.
I think you keep the speed.
You ease off the
You
accelerator.
ease off. Okay.
Should you brake?
No.
You should not brake.
Should not brake.
Unless you're about to like crash into something. You
Yes.
can then slowly, gently tap on the brakes. If you slam on the
Okay.
brakes,
You're
it will
gonna skid,
increase the
right. Yeah,
hydroplane.
yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
And you are supposed to look in the direction you want to go to smoothly steer out of it.
Yeah.
So you're basically supposed to hold the wheel steady
Gotcha.
until you stop drifting.
Gotcha.
Here's the big
helpful.
one. If you drift, are you supposed to steer into the direction that you are drifting or against it? Into is
Okay,
correct.
I
If
thought
you
that was
steer
right. Okay.
against it, what is going to happen is once your tires regain
Fishtail.
traction, you are going to jerk in the opposite direction
yes.
in which you were hydroplaning and
Okay.
potentially cause an accident.
Okay.
There you go.
I think half credit on that.
Sure.
All right.
We'll give it to
I
you.
have 1 3/4 points.
Yeah, that's about enough. All right, how about this one? I'll turn this one into a multiple choice because of
Thanks.
your belly aching.
Thank you.
What is the maximum distance a load or piece of cargo is legally allowed to extend beyond the rear bumper of a passenger vehicle before you must attach a red warning flag? Are you clear on the question?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's say I'm in a pickup truck. I have something in the back. How far can it stick out past my bumper?
There you go.
Yeah.
A, 2 feet. B, 3 feet. C, 4 feet. Or D, 5 feet.
I will say 3.
4.
Damn.
Yeah, 4 feet. So,
Best to be safe though out there, folks.
yeah,
3 feet.
get yourself a red warning flag.
Even if it's 3 feet, just do the warning flag to be extra safe.
And everybody's like, what's this guy doing with the red warning flag? He's only 3.5
It's
feet
3
out.
feet. What's he doing?
Okay. Here we go. This was something that you had mentioned earlier. Exactly how many feet before a turn must you continuously signal your intention to turn on a city street or a highway? Would you like multiple choice here, or do you want to
I'll
do
take a guess.
Okay.
Is it 300?
Too much. It is at
250?
least
250.
100 feet.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, I thought it was way more.
No,
I've
think
been
if it's-
doing the signal way longer
I
than
think
I
if
need
it's
to.
more, you're just going to kind of confuse
The
people.
last third of the block, I'm usually.
Yeah, well, it's about 100 feet.
It depends on the block.
It sure does. It's about a basketball court, right? That's about 94 feet is a basketball
yeah.
court. So
I probably do a little longer than. I probably do a
Wow.
couple basketball courts.
it's
usually.
at least 100 feet.
Oh,
So
okay,
here, look at
okay.
you.
Oh,
As
I-
always, erring on the
Extra
side of
safe, extra
safety.
safe.
It's almost
How
like
can I get these questions wrong if I'm extra safe?
That's
That
true.
doesn't make any sense. You know?
That's true. All right, I've got 2 more for
All
you.
right.
Legally, how many minutes after sunset must your vehicle's headlights be turned on, and when can they be turned off?
Well, first of all, your vehicle's lights should always be on.
Agreed.
Second of all, I will say how many minutes after sunset?
Yeah.
It's just totally a bonkers question. 15,
Close.
30.
30
30,
minutes.
yeah,
Give you another half for that. 30 minutes after sunset until 30 minutes before sunrise.
Yeah, that's how people just drive through the night and they're like, and we're almost at sunrise, the lights go off. That's what psychos do. They do that with their headlights.
Those
to save
are
battery.
Those are the prime
Not
psycho
battery,
hours.
bulb lifespan.
Well,
I
the
guess.
battery
I guess
powers
it.
Yeah. All right. Last one before this pod comes to a merciless end. Merciful. There we go.
Merciless. This quiz has
Merciless.
been pretty brutal. I got about a 20%, I think.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get a robot to do your driving. All right, here we go. This one was just bizarre to me.
Okay.
How far away from railroad tracks do you have to be to park your vehicle?
So you can tie someone up onto the tracks and or
How
drive
far away
away.
do you have to be from the tracks?
How far
Before
from the
you park.
tracks to park? I'm trying to imagine railroad tracks and where I've seen parked cars. I will guess. God. Is it either 1 or 200 feet? Is it one of those two?
No,
Is it 300?
much less. Railroad tracks?
Oh, what is it?
7.5.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought it'd be pretty far. Really? Oh, wow. Really? I don't feel like I've seen many cars parked even that close to railroad tracks.
Well,
Interesting.
typically not. No, but 7.5 feet is enough.
I gotta say, the DMV, some of these rules, we're getting a little loosey-goosey over there. I think we gotta tighten it up a bit, little more safety first.
100 feet from railroad tracks. Why would you need to be that far away from them?
Well, I don't know if there's a car on there, train blasts.
So you're
it,
like,
I've
you're
seen too
concerned-
many movies. I don't know. A lot of these I was basing off Fast and Furious movies, so maybe I was a little misguided. I don't know.
Sure.
What was the final point tally there? Be generous with me. 2.25 points.
2.25.
So that's let's see, 22.5% or
Yeah.
20.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
22.5%
Yep.
out of 100%.
Not bad.
Not great. I would have preferred the opposite score, which would have been a 77.75.
Seems right.
That
to
seems
me.
right, doesn't it? 77.75. Neither of you are sure. I think
you
that is
got it.
correct.
Nice
I think I
job.
got it.
Good work. All right.
That
I
should
think
be an
that's a good
extra
note.
point. Shouldn't that be an extra point?
Sure.
Now I'm at a 30. No, Will says no. All right. Well, in that case,
32.5.
did you have another AI story, or we're all good? We're all
No.
good. You already told it.
That was it.
Oh, that one you teased. You already
Yeah,
told it.
yeah,
Oh, you already
that
told
one.
it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, please subscribe, comment, and leave a rating. Send questions, comments, or big idea suggestions to our business email, flynnbrospod@gmail.com. Also, if you have any complaints about how the quiz was administered, if it was biased, you may email us as well, and we will look into that.
If it should have been more multiple choice.
Yeah, up to you. Thank you again to our producer, Will Slade. And we'll see you next time on the Flynn Brothers podcast. Take care, buddy.
No, buddy, you take care.